ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਦੀ ਲਿਬਰਲ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਅਤੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਆਗੂ ਜਗਮੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਦੀ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਵਿਚਕਾਰ ਤਣਾਅ ਵਧਦਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਆਗੂ ਜਗਮੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਸਿਹਤ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਸੰਕਟ ਨਾਲ ਨਜਿੱਠਣ ਲਈ ਕੋਈ ਸੰਘੀ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ ਸਪਲਾਈ ਅਤੇ ਭਰੋਸੇ ਦੇ ਸਮਝੌਤੇ ਤੋਂ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਹਟਣ ਲਈ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਸਮਝੌਤਾ 2025 ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਚੋਣਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਬਚਣ ਲਈ ਹਾਊਸ ਆਫ ਕਾਮਨਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁੱਖ ਵੋਟਾਂ ਤੇ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਘੱਟ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦਾ ਸਮਰਥਨ ਕਰੇਗਾ। ਬਦਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਬਰਲਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਿਹਤ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਸਮੇਤ ਐਨਡੀਪੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਈ ਤਰਜੀਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ।
Visited and spoke with healthcare workers, and they shared stories of how in Calgary, at the Children's Hospital, because the demand is so high, there are trailers set up outside the Children's Hospital to deal with the excess demand. Children have died in Alberta or in BC, and in Ottawa, the Red Crosses had to be called in to children's hospitals. We are faced with a serious crisis. Parents are dealing with, and children are dealing with, agonizing wait times where having a child unable to breathe for any amount of time is heartbreaking. And that is something that parents are going through right now across the country. And we know that healthcare workers are burnt out, are pushed to the limit. These are people who care deeply about their patients, who care deeply about people, and are feeling like they're unable to do their work because they're so understaffed and under-resourced. We are at a breaking point. Things are very serious, and it's specifically for our children's hospital. Our children are at risk right now. Given how serious it is wrong that the Prime Minister of this country is not showing up to deal with this national crisis. Justin Trudeau has a responsibility to sit down with premiers and find a solution. First and foremost, that is the one thing we're calling for. It's that given how serious this is, the Prime Minister needs to show up. If I was Prime Minister, that's what I would do immediately. Meet with the premiers, look for solutions. And there's a number of things we can do. We know that the solutions are going to require making sure we increase our recruitment, so more training of frontline healthcare workers, making sure that there are more spaces available, and that's something the federal government can help with. We need to make sure that if anyone in this country has international training in healthcare, they're able to work in that field. We can't afford not to have people in our country, or we can't afford for them not to be able to work. People who are trained in their fields need to be able to work in their fields. And finally, we need to make sure there's good pay. And the federal government made some commitments. Justin Trudeau made some promises. He should follow through with those promises to make sure people get a good, decent wage when it comes to healthcare. And there's a number of additional steps we can take, but fundamentally what we're asking for is, given how serious this is, the Prime Minister needs to step up, the federal government needs to step up and deal with this crisis. We have with us today a nurse from here in Ottawa who's going to share her experiences. And I think it's really important for us to listen very carefully to Rachel Muir, who's a registered nurse. And she's going to talk about what it's been like, how serious this is for patients coming to the hospital, for herself and her colleagues, how dire the situation is here in Ottawa in healthcare. Before I get to Rachel, I'll just do it in French, and then we'll have Rachel share her story. For families, I know in addition to the healthcare crisis, people are really experiencing a lot of pressure because of the cost of living. And I just want to remind folks that as of today, the rental benefit that we fought for nearly 2 million Canadians qualify now for an additional $500. So if you are receiving the Canadian housing benefit, please make sure you apply for the additional support that is now available as of today.
चिंता ना करो, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਿਸਮਤ ਜਾਗ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਚਮਤਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਨਮਸਕਾਰ। ਮੀਆਂ ਤਾਲਿਬ ਜੀ, ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲਿਸਟ ਵਸ਼ੀਕਰਨ, ਮੁਠਕਰਨੀ, ਲਵ ਮੈਰਿਜ, ਕੋਰਟ ਕੇਸ ਤੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਰਾਇਆ, ਇਮੀਡੀਏਟਲੀ 101% ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟਸ। ਸਾਡੇ ਕਾਲੇ ਇਲਮ ਦੀ ਕਾਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ। ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ, ਸਮਾਧਾਨ ਸਾਡਾ। ਹਰ ਸਮੱਸਿਆ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਧਾਨ ਪਾਓ ਸਿਰਫ 5 ਘੰਟਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ। ਹਰ ਪਾਸਿਓਂ ਨਿਰਾਸ਼, ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ। ਕਾਲ ਨਾਓ 9876786067। ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਪੱਕਾ ਵਾਅਦਾ। ਲਵ ਮੈਰਿਜ, ਘਰ ਕਲੇਸ਼, ਕਾਰੋਬਾਰ, ਘਰ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ, ਨੌਕਰੀ, ਸੌਤਨ ਦੁਸ਼ਮਣ ਤੋਂ ਛੁਟਕਾਰਾ, ਵਿਦੇਸ਼ ਯਾਤਰਾ 'ਚ ਰੁਕਾਵਟ, ਹਰ ਕੰਮ ਗਰੰਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੌਲਵੀ, ਜੋਤਿਸ਼, ਤਾਂਤਰਿਕ ਨੂੰ ਅਜਮਾ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ 9876786067।